can count on. This is News Center 5.
Every Saturday across our region, fathers watch sons play high school football. Nothing new in that. But what happens when dad is fighting a life-threatening disease and must stay away from everyone? News Center 5's Ann Dufresne says that's when father and son rely on each other and a few friends for some high-tech incentive.
Mike Bracco rifles the ball for the first of 2 touchdown passes. Mom Karen roots for the high school senior in the stands. Missing is the father who helped shape Mike's arm as an adolescent, the former college football player who guided his son's training as he grew into a star quarterback for the division champion team at St. Thomas Aquinas High School.
He actually has been working with our son since he could basically hold the football in his hand. And it's a year-round process they do together. And it's a very special relationship they have doing this football together.
He's also been very involved, in my training and getting me ready. And this is my senior year, so it was kind of hard when he found out that he was going to be missing, some of the games.
Phil Bracco suffers from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and is in isolation for 3 weeks at Beth Israel Deaconess following a stem cell transplant to kickstart his immunity system. He's never missed Mike's games, and thanks to his business partners, he'll keep that record. They hired a cameraman and brought in a satellite truck to beam the games live to his hospital room TV 80 miles away.
I know as he's in that huddle and calling plays, he knows I'm watching, and given our relationship, I know it means an awful lot to him.
Mike says losing was not an option today, knowing the games are an incentive in his father's battle with cancer. Phil is grateful his doctors recognize that watching Mike on the field is an important tonic.
The endorphins that are running around in my body right now probably moved my stay here forward by about 3 days, so he's going to have to let me out for the next ball game.
In Boston, I'm Ann Dufresne, News Center 5 tonight.
His biggest concern was not the fact that he had to go into the hospital and have the fight of his life, but that he was going to miss his son's senior year at football.
Many parents long to see their children succeed in sports, but what happens when a grave illness keeps those parents from the playing field? Friends of one New Hampshire man could not allow such fate to keep him from a very important football season. In our cover story tonight, Davita Wright shows us how they brought the game to the hospital.
48-year-old Philip Bracco is in the middle of his second battle with small cell lymphoma, a cancer of the lymph nodes. To him, the timing couldn't be worse. The stem cell transplant, which could save his life, kept him isolated for almost 3 weeks at Boston's Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, right in the middle of football season when his son Michael, number 11, plays as the star quarterback for St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Dover, New Hampshire.
I was very disappointed. Timing could not have been worse. My son and I had spent an awful lot of time in his wonder years, so to speak, preparing and, growing as a student athlete. And his senior year was very important to him, and I certainly wanted to be part of it. Never missed a football game, probably never missed one of his workouts. We did it together.
Because the immune system is destroyed before the stem cell transplant, Philip had to remain isolated until his immunity came back. Even visitors had to wash up and wear hospital scrubs before entering his room, and our camera had to shoot from outside the door.
Prognosis is good, it's just like anything else, take it day to day.
Those who love Philip Bracco hated to see him miss out on something that means so much to him. Philip's business partner, Dan Schneider, has known him for 18 years.
I used to watch him teach his son how to play, and throw the ball, and throw the ball, and throw the ball.
Though it was a stressful time for their jewelry wholesaling business, Dan was determined to help Philip see his son play.
Here's a guy he was under tremendous pressure, and all he wanted to do when he was down there was watch his son play football. And if that's what he wanted, then that's what he was going to get.
Dan put an employee whom he calls the Make It Happen man, Roger Detzler, on the job.
I initially got the idea that we could do it through a satellite broadcast on Wednesday, and the game was Saturday.
Roger made a flurry of calls and managed to get WMUR-TV in Manchester, New Hampshire to send a crew to shoot the St. Thomas football game. At a cost of $7,000, it was fed to a satellite, and B.I. Deaconess picked up the feed and telecast it into Philip's room.
I think the first game was a real miracle because we really didn't want to build Phil up. You know, we didn't want to give him false hope that we were going to pull this off, and I don't think we actually told him until about 3 hours from the first game.
It was fantastic, great experience. It was like being right there in the stands, watching it as any parent would.
Philip was able to watch 2 games in the hospital, including this one against St. Thomas's biggest rival, Somersworth High. Unfortunately, the Saints lost, lowering their record to 5-1. But the team still has a good chance of going on to the state championships. Philip is working on being healthy enough to be there. Davita Wright, NECN.
Philip Bracco is now out of the hospital. He says he thinks he'll be well enough to see this Friday's game in person.